Hey guys, it's Adam from Tested, and I am in one of my happy places in the world, which is in the model building. What do you call this room? The model making. Model making
Collectibles.
at Weta Workshop in Wellington. Hello, guys.
Hi, Adam.
It's been about 18 months since we've seen you guys, and right here on the table, this is Moose from Chappie.
That's right.
Talk to me about what's going on with Moose right here.
Well, Moose was originally, this is made from the same files that we did the desk model, so the original prop that was used in the movie.
Oh, so it's a prop replica.
It's essentially a prop replica, just a different color, but it's essentially a prop replica of the one in the movie. And we always intended to make a collectible of it, and it was shown at the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con.
I remember that.
And he kind of didn't go any further, but it's always been in the back of our minds, and it's amazing the amount of people in the workshop, us included, are just absolute robot nuts. And people always ask us, whatever happened with the moose? And we're like, well, we don't know. And then we were told, guys, can we do something with a moose? And we're like, well, of course we can do something with it. What do you want us to do with it? It's like, well, let's make it cool collectible. And so that's where we are now. We're like, what do we do with it? Because as it is here, it's just straight 3D print.
And that's a difficult thing to both produce on any kind of scale. And it's also an incredibly detailed model. I mean, if you wanted to tool this out of injection molding, it would be millions of dollars worth of tooling to complete this.
Yeah, and that's the conundrum. So what do we do with it? Because, you know, if we were to have done this 5 years ago, it would have automatically, almost being with Weta, we would have done some sort of polystone thing with a few additions of other media in that.
Yeah.
But you know, our bread and butter back then was polystone, and now we're looking at different
we
materials.
Have options now.
Yeah, options.
Like we go an action figure route, could be a posable sort of plastic thing.
You mean make it smaller?
Well, I wouldn't want to.
No.
The fans love the one-to-one.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a full size of this one in the world.
We built that. We built the full size one for Chappie. So there's a little bit of ownership around these parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was one of the most awesome things we've made here. I mean, we make a lot of awesome things, but standing under that 10-foot tall mech, it was just fantastic.
Oh, wazer. Now, there are some, I was saying to you off camera, there are some rapid prototyping techniques that are drifting into rapid manufacturing. That there's this, I think there's a little bit of a sea change happening, and there's a company called Carbon 3D that makes a printer that could print these parts on a production level. I mean, they print fast enough and at a high enough resolution, so there's no cleanup. They're stable resins. You know, have you looked into processes like that, additive manufacturing processes?
Can those printing do the mold components, injectable molds? Is the product strong enough for that? So we do the negatives of everything.
Ah, wow.
Straight to plastic injection.
I don't know. I doubt it because of the pressures required for plastic injection molding.
Some of those products are exceedingly strong, but whether they can take the heat.
Yeah. I totally agree with you that this should be a collectible. I mean, every last bit that do you have molds of it at this size, or has it just ever been 3D printed?
No, we've only ever done 3D prints of it. So we actually got majority of the way through to doing the cleanup of 3D prints for molding one, and getting armature in the legs and all that. But that's where we kind of put a halt on it a few years back. But now looking at what we'd like to do, I mean, you've got a minigun. It'd be so sad not to have at least the minigun turn. And then you've got the Jaws of Life here. What do you do with them?
We've got so many options now, you know, and we don't have to make the large numbers that we used to have to make anymore. I mean, we could make it super limited.
You could do 100.
Yeah, that's possible in today's market.
However many you make, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I want to get on that list. You know, since this is from a Neil Blomkamp film, I see some classic Blomkamp touches. That militaria, that robot, that Mention Krieger, that, you know.
His aesthetic travels throughout all of his work.
It really does. I am also noticing what I think is a nod to two of my favorite movies, just in the legs here. This feels very much like an Ed 209.
Ed 209, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But it feels like an Ed 209 married to Kane Robot's foot.
Yep.
Like he's quoting two different RoboCop movies all at once here.
I mean, if you get a quote, I mean, RoboCop's all right, you know.
Oh, man. Have you guys started to think of perhaps other paint schemes for it?
Endless. I mean, myself, I could just, there's 100, you know, you could do.
They could certainly be custom to order.
Yeah.
especially if they're limited run.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, what do we do as a run? Do we do a kit? Do we do, a high detailed resin kit? Or is it just something that you take out of the blister?
I think I'm always a stumper for the high quality resin kit.
Yeah, same.
Because
Same here.
because I mean, a kit that's this evocative and this intense and large, it's also easier to paint something this large,
Yeah.
and the rewards are incredibly high, right? Like, you can get around to the detail, you can paint stuff, pre-paint it, add the weathering, and tie it all together. I mean, this would be a very memorable adventure for any garage
Big
kit.
fun, right?
Yeah.
And the presence, the shelf presence is immense.
It is huge, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure many people have a house that could accommodate this on a shelf.
Well, a coffee table then.
I'm noticing just this last little detail that's sort of like a wonderful deception. It's not mounted. It's resting on what looks like this cable drooping from its jacksie, as you would say.
Yeah. That was Dave's.
This
idea,
is
wasn't
steel.
it?
Yeah, it's still. Yeah, yeah. The original being a 3D print, he kind of slumped a little.
Oh,
so
in storage, you mean?
in storage, yeah, and he looked like a puppy that had been kicked to the curb when we brought him out. So we had to put a bit of strengthening into him, and so we've just got this bit of steel rod here that is disguised as a fuel hose, just to hold him up while we've got him here.
Has Weta done other garage kits? Have they done other garage model kits?
Not yet.
No, that's actually the closest thing we're getting to kits now is our new GKR with a painter's edition, where you could get the kits, and so that's
I just got a couple of those, and I'm very excited about getting my hands dirty.
yeah.
It's a passion of Richard's. It's a passion of us three. There's a few of us around, so I mean, who knows what happens in the future? But garage kits are very dear to a lot of our hearts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This would be doable as a garage kit. A lot of casting, but
Yeah.
it's really gorgeous. I totally support this idea.
Excellent.
Awesome.
I don't know how much my vote counts for, but I'm in. Guys, it's always thrilling to come in and see all the stuff that you guys have been working on, and your meticulous and fine attention to the best detail. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. I mean, you guys are an inspiration to us, so thank you.
Cheers.